Yeah, what it is. So before we start, I just want to start off by first saying that there's absolutely no gore, violence, substances, hate speech, or anything else of the nature during the commission of this video. And if you don't know, this is your man's reporting to you live from the back of the classroom, Petty Murphy, aka MAGA Boy, doing what I do best, and that is the world's most illustrious propaganda pimping. If anything you see during the course of this video resonates, by all means, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. What's cracking? You already know what it is. So we're gonna hop on it and get right back to it, right? So, you know, I always talk about how people use their emotions to circumvent logic, right? Now, by no means have I ever said I'm an economist, a lawyer, a philosopher, or anything. But I know how to read, and I know how to comprehend. I know how to grasp and process basic information and knowledge. All of us have been given that gift and that right from our Creator as sovereigns, right? So again, I'm going to show you something. Now, you remember what I said earlier about the tariffs, right? Before I get into that, I want to just give you just a little bit more how to look at this shit, right? If you look at the list of tariffs and what they're charging, as I showed before, right? So, what was it? China charges 67% tariffs, which means that for every dollar that good, whatever you're buying costs, they tack on another 67 cents on that dollar. Which means if you're buying a dollar ball, it now costs $1.67 because you have to pay the tariffs. And China's not paying that. We Americans are paying that. But we send our products over there with no tariffs, so they're getting them and paying the same cost that we're paying for them. Now, let's upscale that a little bit, right? If you buy a $100 pair of shoes, that same pair of shoes now becomes $167, right? That even gives the false impression of luxury goods and luxury buying, because most people don't know they're paying the added on tariff. So these companies can push these things as luxury goods, and it's the same bullshit that you've been fucking buying, actually lesser quality, but because of the tariffs and the perceived costs, you look at it as a luxury item. But that's just one example. But anyways, earlier today, I saw this on my timeline, right? And like I say, I understand all the feelings and emotions behind it. I went through the same thing as a melanated being in America because of what I was indoctrinated to believe by the left, right? But I simply just made this comment here, right? Which you can see here. Have you read how tariffs work? Which was met by, what is your educational background, line of work? Are you a seasoned national economist? Before I answer, does it matter? Of course it matters. To which I reply, it really doesn't, but now you want to act like it does because you simply don't like what we have been told not to like. Okay? I assume by your non-answer, you're only Facebook qualified to discuss terrorists and wonderful how blah, 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 right? These are the same individuals 5-6 years ago was on this bullshit. These are the same motherfuckers that was running around talking this shit.
The United States are now
Remember
fully
this?
vaccinated, which is good, but unfortunately, more than 1 in 4 say
Now, let me
they are
ask you
not
this.
planning to get the vaccine ever.
How the fuck did any of that work out for us? Remember? Because what did? We listened to the people with money and shiny suits. And guess what none of them had? What does he say right here? Where is it? Where is it? What is your educational background? Okay, let's find out. Bill Gates. Now we all remember, he was pushing. This was Mr. We're going to infect mosquitoes with the vaccine so when they bite people, we can inoculate them. This is Mr. We're going to start putting the vaccine in the food supply so when they eat, they can be inoculated. Not worrying about dosage though, right? Okay. Let's see what his background is. In fact, hold on. Bill Gates. Fuck. So he went to Harvard for 1973 to 1975, which is basically a JUCO, well, anywhere else would have been a JUCO degree, which tells me that if he was a pre-law student and he did 2 years of college, he has no degree. Yet, for some reason, a lot of people in this country took medical advice from this guy 5, 6 years ago. No questions asked. As well as a whole bunch of governors, a whole bunch of mayors, a whole bunch of senators, and everything else. And at no point did anybody go, well, what's their background? Why is that? Oh, because it's the presumption or the illusion of authority that gets you off. And y'all be back there like, These are the same people a year ago, right? Would have dropped on their knees for free and sucked the skin off of Elon Musk's phallus. Because he was the guy that brought back the electric car and was trying to save the planet from global warming, and now they don't like him because he's exposing government overspending, right? But did anyone ever think, how would Elon even know that the government is stealing from its citizens through taxes? You know why? Because he got rockets and shit, right? And they use his rockets to get some of these satellites up in the air, up into orbit, right? Which means that he's carrying DARPA and Department of Defense shit, which means he's got to have at least a top secret or even an above top secret fucking security code clearance, dummies. Which means that he himself is a fucking government contractor and he knows the loopholes because he's been getting paid off them too. Remember what Trump told us during the debate when he was debating Hillary? Well, of course I know all the loopholes of the tax shit. Of course I use them and get over them because you put them there for your friends. And when you remove them, I'll stop using them. So now someone's here to remove them so that the American people can get their fucking money back and their sovereignty back. And y'all are mad because you don't like change. But look, I'll be Facebook famous, but what I'm not gonna be is a pawn or a fucking clown. Y'all keep listening to this bullshit that they telling you and indoctrinating you with, and you wonder why all these children going to school confused as fuck and don't know if they boys or girls or not. It's because we lie to ourselves every fucking day. We take expert advice from non-experts, and then when anyone that just takes simple logic, because if you look at it, just mathematics. Ain't no robbery in a fair exchange, right? Okay, so if we're exchanging goods, but you charge me an extra 67 or 90% on top of the goods that I'm taking from you, but I don't charge you shit for mine, then that's a fucking robbery and ain't no fair exchange. And you don't need to about that. I got cut off. Yeah, but anyways, back to what I was saying. That ain't no fair exchange. That's fucking highway robbery. And we're being robbed, the American people. So, say what you want to say. Continue to do what you want to do. But I'm not playing the game anymore. Hey, it's funny because, right? Never mind, I'm not even gonna go there. But yeah. For all of you that think this shit is okay, then I would like to do business with some of you, because I'm gonna start charging tariffs on y'all motherfuckers in there. We just gonna exchange for the free ski, since none of us have any type of economic base, right? Right? Okay. But I'm gonna take my ass back to the hospital and go back to work. I would have answered you sooner, but until I finish taking names and kicking asses and this motherfucking getting this shit right, I still gotta punch a clock, unfortunately. So yeah, happy Liberation Day to all. Because, again, when you go back through, I'll just say this much, right? For all of you who don't like it, when it pans out and we no longer have to pay federal taxes, you continue to take them federal taxes out your check and send them shits this way. I'll gladly accept it. Because it'll be real hypocritical of you to accept anything or benefit from anything that you fighting tooth and fucking nail for to not have. Ha ha, bitches.